Hi Buckeyes, it's Mr. A here from the Physical Education Department. I'm here to explain how to complete Lesson 2 of the Practicum Preparation. Now this is a very important assignment for you all to complete because this sets you up for the 55 hours of out-of-school physical activity that you are going to participate in to get that part of your credit. So what we are essentially doing is we are going to look at the different physical activities that we may be doing over the next 5 months during the semester and choosing which activities that we will most likely participate in to help us get those hours. On the first page here, you can follow the instructions step by step, and if you follow the instructions and read along, you should have no problems here. For example, step 1 says we're going to look at the approved physical activities on pages 4 to 9. Okay, so if I just scroll down to page 4 to 9, I will find a list of all the activities that are approved for your physical activity practicum. As you can see, it starts with aerobics. There's different types of aerobics. There's dance, there's step aerobics, there's water or aqua aerobics. And they also talk about which health-related fitness components they work on. So if you're looking at creating a balanced physical education program for yourself, you want to ensure that you find activities that work on the different health-related fitness components for you. So I would like you to scroll through and take a look at which activities interest you. And if you notice, we have the first column, there's a column that is empty that says interest. So if you are interested in participating in one of these activities, put an X, or you can highlight the activity so that you know which ones you want to do or you're interested in doing. So all of these are on pages 4 to 9, and you would take a look and see. Now I am going to give you some advice here. You have to think about which semester you're taking Phys Ed in. So if you are taking Phys Ed in the first semester between September and January, you may not want to choose open water swimming because really I think the last weekend that I would be jumping in the lake would have been the Labor Day weekend at the beginning of September, as the water temperatures are getting quite cold right now. And it's not very likely that you will be doing any open water swimming between now and the end of January. If you are taking Phys Ed in the second semester and you know that May long weekend you always go swimming at the lake or you go to the beach, then perhaps open water swimming is something that you would want to choose because it's something that you do consistently. So you want to pick activities that are relevant to the semester that you will be taking Phys Ed in. So that is the first part of your task here. So you're going to choose which activities. Once you've done that, what we want you to do next is you are going to list the activities here on page 10 of the activities that you will most likely do. So it says here, activities that you plan to do to meet the required 55 hours. As you notice, we have several rows here. You do not have to fill up all the rows. So what I want you to do here is take a look at the activities that you showed an interest in, and I want you to kind of narrow it down to the activities that you know that you will be able to do and that will help you complete the 55 hours. In lesson 1, we kind of evaluated where we currently are at with our physical activity participation and if we are on track currently to meet the 55 hours. So if you are, you want to just use those activities that you will be continuing to do. If you had to add to your plan, perhaps this is where you look for an activity that you think that you can join. Perhaps martial arts is something that you're interested in. Then I know the leisure guide came out and they have different activities. So perhaps that's in a class that you may want to start taking. Then that could help you get your hours as well. So again, you're only going to list the activities here that you will know that you're going to use to get your 55 hours. Now, I will share with you that if you do not list any activities on this list, you cannot include them on your logs. So you want to make sure that you think about what you may be participating in over the next 5 months. For example, maybe 2 months from now, you do know that you will be joining a martial arts class and it begins in a couple months, then you want to include that on this list here. If you notice here, it says URL. So URL will take you to a link to a safety checklist. Now, what is a safety checklist? If I scroll back here to the original page, we have a website here which brings you to safety checklists, and I will click on that here and just show you. So these are safety checklists that will help us to understand our activities a bit better and understand any risks involved in them. So I will pick, let's pick badminton, for instance. No, actually, I would choose something that has a higher risk here. So I'm going to do circuit training. So I click on circuit training, and it gives us some examples of, if you want to read it, and some information about what circuit training is about. I'm going to find something with a higher risk rating. I believe fitness training has one. So fitness training has a risk factor rating of 3, if you can see. Okay, that is key here, because we need to do a safety evaluation, or it's called a risk management plan, for any activity that has a risk factor rating of 3 or 4, which are higher risk. Okay, so what I want to do here, once I pick the safety checklist for the activities that I'm doing, is I want to copy and paste the URL, just like that, of these safety checklists, and I want to include them on that document here, Microsoft Teams. Okay, so where it says URL, I want to include the URL for the activity. And where it says risk factor rating here in this column, I want to include the risk factor rating that you saw in the safety checklist. Okay, so this is your list of the activities that you want to complete in the next 55 hours, to do your 55 hours, and you are going to complete these activities in this semester. If you don't have any other questions, I'm going to move on here. We're going to talk a bit about the safety and risk management planner. So once we've selected our activities, we have to demonstrate that we understand the risks involved in participating in that activity. So one thing that's new this year is that there are certain specific COVID-19 precautions and return to play protocols for several sports that you need to be mindful of when you're participating. So perhaps what are some precautions that you will take while you are participating in these activities? And here are some links to various return to play protocols. Now, I will tell you that COVID-19 is always evolving and changing, so while you may go to these websites, you may not be at the most recent COVID return to play protocol page. So I would also do an extra visit to the sport organization's main website to see the most recent version. For example, Football Manitoba just today updated their return to play protocols, and I have included that here if you are going to be involved in football. Okay. So here's an example of a risk management plan. So if you take a look, here's an exemplar, okay? And it basically asks you questions for some considerations that you need to think about when you're participating in that activity. So this activity that this student chose was resistance training. So what you need to do as a student is explain who were your instructors that taught you resistance training. So this student wrote the Miles Mac Phys Ed teachers. So there are some guiding questions here. How much instruction will be required? Do the instructors have the necessary qualifications? And will a skills assessment be done to determine the participant's level of ability? Where do you find the answers to these questions? Well, you are going to refer to the safety checklist that we were looking at earlier. Okay, so this is risk management plan for resistance training. So I'll quickly show you where that is. I'm going to open that hyperlink again. I'll go to resistance training. Okay, and it's under weight training. And some of those questions, they talk about instruction here. So for example here, it says instruction is received from an instructor certified by the Manitoba Fitness Council or from an experienced instructor capable of demonstrating competencies of a certified instructor as appropriate. Okay, all sessions are conducted in a safe environment. Safe weights and strength training techniques and procedures are learned. Skills, movements are learned, proper progression. Okay, so there's some information that you need to read about the level of instruction that you need to have when you're participating in resistance training. So going back to that document here, when I'm completing a risk management plan, I'm reading the questions, the guiding questions, I am reading the safety checklist, and then I'm going to write down the personal strategies that I'm going to use to minimize the risk. So here, the student wrote, no further instruction is needed. Resistance training was taught in grade 10. I will ask a Phys Ed teacher if I have any questions. I might even add here, all Phys Ed teachers at Miles Mac are certified, and they can help me, right? So you want to write down the personal strategies that you're going to use to minimize any risks involved. Okay, so take a look at the guiding questions, read the safety checklist, and explain in this column here how you are going to minimize the risks involved for these categories, such as the supervisor, facilities, and environment, equipment, clothing and footwear, COVID-19, and any personal considerations. Okay? Personal considerations is very personal and it is unique to you. So for example, this student wrote, I have asthma and a recurring knee issue. And so that's something that they are sharing here. And their personal strategy is, I will be sure to take my inhaler before I begin. I will work within my abilities and warm up properly. In case of emergency, on-site supervisors will be available. Okay, so that is how you complete the risk management form. Now, you need to complete a risk management plan for every activity with a risk factor rating of 3 or 4. Okay, so again, when you looked at those safety checklists for those activities that you had listed here, anything on this list with a risk factor rating of 3 or 4, you must complete one of these risk management plans. I have included 2 blank ones for you in this assignment, but if you need more, okay, in Teams, under the Files section, I have included a Module A folder with resources with an extra copy for you. So you can access that file, complete this risk management form for those activities, and add it to your assignment when you submit it to me. Okay? That's Module A in a nutshell. So once you complete this, I will first review this with you. I will then send your parents an email where I inform them that you have completed your practicum preparation and that they are to review your safety checklist with you and the risk management plan and the activities that they chose. They have a form that they need to complete online and give me a digital signature approving, showing that they approve your plan. And then I will also send you a link where you declare that you understand all the risks involved in participation. You complete that. Once everything's complete, I will send you an electronic log, and that will be our next lesson. We will teach you how to log properly, and then you will begin. If you have any questions, you can always email your teacher or send your teacher a message through Teams, and we would be happy to help you. Thanks, and good luck.